maybe it is Spurs. However, it is fair to say that Spurs took care of business once again. They turned it on when they needed to.
Hold on.
Hold
on.
All right.
Let me stop you there. Spurs took care of business once again?
Once again.
When was the other again this season?
When it comes to these bigger games, why are they turning up to these bigger games, like we're seeing in the Europa League?
Well, hold on. Where are they in the Premier League?
1-0.
They're 16th in the Premier League. They haven't turned up to any big games.
And it's like,
as if
they've already said goodbye to the Premier League, yet they know something's at stake here.
You're digging.
Frankfurt as well. What's going on? Why are they turning it on here in this competition that we're not seeing from them in the Premier League?
Consistency. Some of the other teams in this competition are not that strong. That's why we have potentially two very poor Premier League teams that are going to be in the final. And I suppose it is last chance saloon for some of these players, and particularly for the manager. But I have absolutely no faith whatsoever that this Tottenham side will go there to Norway. Because I know it's got our colleague Jan Fjørtoft excited on social media. Spurs will need more than two. Spurs will need more than two. Then they get three, and it's now back in the balance with that late goal. I sense it's back in the balance because this side at home with the crowd behind them and Tottenham's fragility, I have no confidence that if BodGlimt get one or two early in this game, or maybe one in the first half and one in the second half, and it's back tied, that this Tottenham side will not crumble. I've seen it too many times this season. So, great result. Disappointing to lose a goal late on, because 3-0 would have been obviously great. But I can't sit here and say, yeah, Tottenham could go there, shut up shop, defend, be clever, and get the job done. I suppose in a sense they did a very good job in Frankfurt, particularly late on, of sort of stemming the tide and defended well. But I'm not sure they're going to be able to do it in the semi-final. They're favourites, of course they're favourites to go through, but are we going to see that sort of fragility once more that has been their Achilles heel all season?
They've given themselves a little cushion here.
No, look, listen, 3-1 is a very good result. Of course it is. I think this tie is less over than the Man United Athletic Club one.
Are you denying us a Manchester United-Tottenham final?
I couldn't give a stuff. I'm a neutral. I couldn't give a stuff. Who's in the final? I'm hoping the final falls on a day that I've got planned concert. So I don't know. All I'm saying is Spurs, untrustworthy. Whether it's an all-English file or not, couldn't give a stuff. But I'm not putting my faith in Tottenham seeing this game out. I am not.
Can they see the tie out, Frank?
I mean, I have to be optimistic because don't forget that today our producer is a crazy Spurs fan, so you have to be nice to him, you know. Otherwise, it's going to be a black window very soon, you know, Craig. But no, but I think they've been serious. I mean, I was impressed today by the performance that they had. Yeah, maybe Glimt weren't the best team in the world, but they showed in a previous round that they were capable of beating any team around Europe and good teams around Europe. So you had to consider that it's a great performance from Spurs until the 83rd minutes. And maybe the only chance that Glimt had today. But because of that goal, they are in danger. They really are in danger. If they don't keep the level of performance that they had today, they can be surprised about that team. And as Craig mentioned, the pressure is going to be hard, and the Glimt are going to play very high on the field. If they score one goal very early, that's going to be a different mind and a friend of mine and the set, and they will have to adjust. I don't know if they're capable of adjust anything this season.
Yeah, because Stevie was saying that you can't just turn it on and off as a player. But can you? Because it looks like that's what they're doing. It does look as though they're turning it on and off. We're seeing two different Spurs in two different competitions here. Is it a conscious thing?
I think they've got some players back as well.
Yeah,
which has helped.
We're still talking about BodGlimt, right? And
yeah, no Norwegian side's ever been this far in a major men's tournament.
We're still talking about a team that has had a historically good run in this competition. Never seen before. And while I don't want to sound disrespectful to BodGlimt, the fact that we're questioning whether a 2-goal lead is enough from Spurs going into Norway, I think tells you not so much what BodGlimt can do, but it's much more about our lack of belief and confidence in Spurs. And much like Manchester United, that lack of belief and confidence in Spurs comes from week in, week out, seeing this team play in the manner in which they do. So this turning on and off sort of thing with Spurs, I don't believe in it. I think there is something to be said about cup competition, something to be said about the fact that you don't have to worry about the length of the season. You just focus on this game, and if we get through this game, then now we start advancing, we generate momentum in the cup. And guess what? We don't really have to think about the league because the league is gone. I think well documented, it's already been said. They're 16th on the table. If you're 16th on the table, in any table in the world, you haven't had a good season. You seem to be focusing on this. And in focusing this, I think it gives this team purpose. I don't know if you can define it as turning it on and off, because just as quickly as this team can look good and beat Bodø Glimt, we're also saying, in the same breath, maybe they go to Norway and struggle. We think that Spurs will have enough, but none of us have certainty that that's actually the case. None of us, whether they turn it on, off, or not.
I mean, even if they go through and go on to the final and win it, and that's still a big if. That's Champions League football and a Europa League victory. Is that enough to say Ange Postecoglou's still the right guy for the job? Does Daniel Levy say, OK, I'm going to ignore the 38 league games and their position? Because we sat here and we talked about Erik ten Hag winning the FA Cup. And we sat here and said, there's no progression. He won the Carabao Cup, he won the FA Cup. There's no progression because the league table doesn't lie. The performances don't lie. And there is a sense that even if Spurs go on and be successful in this competition, I think most of the fan base would be joyous, obviously, and celebrate that great achievement, but would probably in the longer term would want a change of management because of the league form. So it's a really difficult position to be in for Tottenham. And I suppose for Daniel Levy, because he's going to have to balance it up if indeed they go on and win it, which, as I say, is a long shot. I think at the minute it's looking like a Man United Tottenham final, obviously, but that could change. We know that. But it's looking like a Man United Tottenham final, and good luck picking the winner out of that one.